Hello everyone and welcome back. I know it's been a little while. I was about to say my puppies are up there. If you can see, Jax of course has to come check on me every time he sees me talking or hears me talking to anyone. I was going to warn you that he was going to be panting, but he decided to come join. You my good boy. Seriously, the sweetest dog ever. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video and choosing to watch and join me here on my channel. For those of you who are new, I am a stay-at-home homeschool mama to one kiddo who also took on the role recently of becoming a caregiver. So our life is a little extra crazy right now. This week is actually our last week of school for us, and we begin again on October 7th. On October 7th, we are year-round homeschoolers. Usually we don't take a break quite that long, but this mama needs it and we've completed as many days as we need. So today I am going to be sharing with you our goals and or vision of what I plan our 2019 to 2020. Yes, our 2020. It's so weird to say that. Oh my gosh. 2020 homeschool year. I have goals for our homeschool year. I have goals for Ireland and herself, and then I have a huge goal that I have made for myself that I plan to try to stick to the best that I can. I think that it is very important to have goals set for your homeschool year. Even if you don't stick to them 100%, they don't have to be goals. Again, as I said, they can be visions or just give you something to strive for, to set a path for yourself so you don't just walk into the new homeschool year blind. You know where you want to go. You've got a path that you know you want to follow. They don't always work out, trust me. They don't, but at least you have made a path for yourself. When setting your goal or vision for your new school year, it's important to take a step back and look at your school year while making your plans and see what you want your homeschool year to look like, what you want to accomplish, what memories you want to be able to look back on, and just all in all, what you expect your year to be. Of course, they don't always work out. All of our goals are not always met, and all of our visions are not always 100% completed. There's always stuff up in the air, and this year, usually I have goals like by this quarter, we're going to have this done, and we're going to complete all of these books that I just bought before the year is over, and blah, blah, blah. You'll see what my goal is for this year. So we're going to start with our goals or visions for our homeschool year as a whole. My number one goal, I just want to have a joyful, relaxed homeschool year where we just take it all in, not just the education part, but just taking in and appreciating more the time that we have together as a family, the memories that are being made, instead of just being so go, 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 we have to finish this, let's get it done and try to do it by the book. Homeschooling is, there's nothing about homeschooling that is do it by the book. And I feel like last year I kind of fell underway with that because our life did get so busy with so much going on that I felt like if we didn't do it by the book, we weren't going to finish on time. But in the state of Florida, there is no on time. You get evaluated once a year, and as long as you're doing better at the end of the year than you were at the beginning of the year, there's no downfall. Of course, we just spent a bunch of money on curriculum that we've never did before, and I do want to finish it all. I do want to do the best that we can. But we also have to remember to give ourselves grace because we are in a very busy and hectic just phase in our life to where sometimes it just doesn't work out the way that we want, and just giving ourselves that grace to just kind of accept it and move on instead of dwelling on the fact that it's not going as it should and feeling panicky and overwhelmed just take a deep breath and move on to the next thing and do as much as you can when you can. And number 2 for our homeschool year is to be more consistent and yet still go with the flow of life. With so many things happening this last year, with new businesses opening and not knowing if we were going to be able to buy a house or not buy a house, or if grandma was coming to live with us, or if we were going to move somewhere, if we had to find her somewhere else to go. Honestly, those are still questions that are unanswered, but we've just learned that stressing out about it is taking away from our school year. It's taking away from the happy times in our life. So we're just going to go with it, and what's meant to happen will happen when it happens. This phase in our life right now, the season that we're in, is just, it's all about acceptance and grace and just going with the flow, because at this point, that's all we can do. Number 3 for our homeschool year as a whole is to spend more time outside. Last year, because currently we're still in our 2018-19 year. The year before that, when we were in preschool, we did so much nature journaling and so many field trips, and we did so much fun stuff. And this last year, all of the stuff that we've had going on just sucked that from us, and I refuse to let that happen. I am here to help the whole family as a whole in any way that I can, but our child and her education absolutely come first. So I am just going to have to make sure that I implement that as much as I can. And number 4 kind of goes with that, as to take more learning adventures. Again, not just the nature journaling outside, but field trips. At the beginning of the year, we were going to Disney every couple of, literally once a week we would go, and we would learn something about the Hall of Presidents, or we would learn something new about one of the animals on the safari at Animal Kingdom, or something like that. We would go once a week, and I would make sure that it was educational. And between it raining every single day here in Florida, oh my goodness, I'm so over the rain. But between it raining so much and when it's not raining, I'm busy. So it's been very impossible to just keep up with the way that things were. And that makes me very sad, because we used to really enjoy those trips together, and they were a great time for us to bond as mother and daughter, as well as teacher. And it was very important to us, and I'm going to make sure that we get back to that. Moving on to our goals for Ireland. I actually sat down and asked her what things she felt that we could work on, and her things kind of coincided with what I had already written down for her. And we talked about it, and we agreed that those were going to be things that we were going to work on. Number 1 is to obey right away. She likes to fight and argue about things, and she's 5 and she's sassy, and it happens. I see it with other kids the same age. I know it's not just her, but I do want her to know that we don't think that that is acceptable. It is completely unacceptable to fight and argue with your parent. Number 2 is putting things back where they go. This is something that absolutely needs to be worked on. When she was a baby, it was really good. She would crawl, and I could say, clean up, and she would literally start crawling her toys back to her bin, and she would clean her toys up, and she would help when she was younger. But now she's at this phase to where she's hung out with a couple friends and heard them talk about not wanting to clean their room, and now magically she doesn't want to clean her room. And Mama don't play that game. So putting things back where they go, in the classroom, in the home, in the bedroom, wherever. Just put things back where they go. And number 3 is patience. I literally went on Amazon when I was ordering our read alouds, and you'll see that's another video coming of read alouds that we have for this year. A lot of them are on patience and kindness. She is very kind. She's very sweet, but her patience when that switch gets flipped and her patience go out the window, so does the kindness. So that's something that we're kind of working on here. Now, my plan for myself for our 2019 to 2020 homeschool year is to just stick to the plan or the vision that I have in place. Anything that takes away from our plans, our vision, anything to do with our homeschool life, I have to learn to say no to. That does not mean that I'm going to stop being a caregiver. That just means that I'm going to implement more of a structure to it. We are getting home health care out there. We're just waiting on Medicare to approve it, which is a job in itself. But we'll make sure that she has help until she does live with us. So I can go out there daily, but it'll be after school instead of rushing. We're going to set one day aside for doctor's appointments, and whatever needs to be done that week will be done on that day and that day alone. So I'm able to plan field trips and outdoor days and stuff like that. We have so many nature trails and hiking areas and stuff like that around here. Nature preserves and reserves and so many things like that, to where we just, last year I had so many of this planned. So much of that was planned for the fall and spring, because obviously in Florida it doesn't really get cold, but on the rare chance that it does, not many animals are out because the animals that are here aren't used to those few cold days. So the winter is kind of and busy because the holidays. So in the fall we did do quite a bit. That was when we did the most. But in the spring is when our lives were just turned upside down, essentially, for so many reasons. And we just weren't able to keep up with it. So this year, I am just going to have to learn to say no. Right now, we have so many people in our lives, friends, family, you name it, that are upset with us because we just have to say no to things, and we aren't able to go to every birthday event or every family gathering or everything that we used to do. Like, I used to be the person that was at all of those because those are important to me. And it's not that that's changed. Our life has changed, and my husband works like 12, 13, 14 hours a day sometimes. And when he comes home, he's still on his computer or on his phone getting work done. And he tries not to bring it home, but it gets to a point where he would rather be here with us than away from us. So I don't think people realize what being a caregiver entails. I've explained some in my videos, but honestly, I don't even think my family really watches anyways. But maybe I could do a video on what that does entail, and maybe it would help some people understand the level of how much it takes out of you mentally, especially when that person's not living with you, so you have to drive back and forth to check on them, and it's still in the beginning stages of becoming a caregiver. Like, it's been a couple months, but at first she was still okay enough to where she could call and make her own doctor's appointments, and I just drove her to make sure she was okay. And at this point, she can't make her own appointments. She no longer, we have her car here at our house because she can't drive, and she kept trying to. I'm scared that she's going to try to cook and burn her house down. So I cook all of her food. I do all of her grocery shopping. When we go over there, I try to clean up for her as much as I can. Like, you name it. Taking her dog to get his toenails cut because he won't let people do it, and the vet has to hold him down. Like, so with all of that entails, along with how much my husband works and trying to homeschool and trying to keep our house clean and trying to attempt to keep this a regular thing, because I really do enjoy doing this, but I feel like my husband's job, like, comes first because his pays the bills, and then taking care of grandma comes first because obviously her life depends on it. Taking care of our daughter comes first because her life depends on it. And then when it comes to the things for me like this, sometimes they get pushed to the back burner, not because I don't want to do it, but because there's literally not enough time in the day. So when stuff like that comes to hand, like when we're getting pulled and friends that live 2-3 hours away, like, oh, come visit, why don't you ever come see me, why don't you do this, why don't you do that, why don't you ever call me, why don't you do this, we just have to say no. There's definitely times when we just have to be like, I can't do it. Our life is crazy hectic right now, so saying no has to be implemented this year, plain and simple. Once there is more structure with home health care out there and stuff like that, it will get easier. But right now, this mama is stretched as thin as she can get, and I am doing the absolute best I can, but I'm going to have to start saying no and enforcing more structure. I don't like it. That's something that's very hard for me. It's not easy for me to say no to anything. So those are my goals for myself, for Miss Ireland, and for our homeschool year as a whole. Our plan, or I guess I should say my plan, is to, I have some already filmed, but I plan on doing them in a certain order, already filmed or to be filming videos about homeschool again for Mondays, although I like to get them up a little earlier than this one's going to be. I'm going to get all of those out to you, and this week is our last week in school, but you will still have videos every Monday about homeschooling, our curriculum we're going to be using, how I'm planning, and so forth and so on. Every Monday for our summer break, you're going to have a video, and then when those videos end, it's going to be our back to school video for you guys. So it should, good Lord willing, it should work out exactly like that, so that Monday continues to be our homeschool day. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you stick around to watch all of those homeschool videos and everything else that I have coming for you, which is quite a bit, as long as I can get them all edited and out. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up if you want to continue to see these homeschool videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below if you would like to chat, and we will see you in our next video. Bye guys.